Well, but there is an interaction.
Anyway, this interaction,
Even silence could be an answer, no? Well, but that's another story. But you have an addressee, no? And this addressee has expectations, and you as a speaker have intentions, no? So there is interaction. So what does this mean in terms of testing? Teachers, at the end I will show you my email. So please, it's okay if you want to take pictures, but I think it's more comfortable for you if you just send me an email and I'll send the presentation. Yes, please feel free to do it after the presentation. In a communicative language test, the candidate must demonstrate his ability to interact. How can they interact? Think about a moment in our assessment where they interact.
the test, the written one.
What about the written one? What about the email? There is an addressee. Well, maybe no, we are not going to reply the email, but he is writing, expecting something and writing to some addressee. So in our test, that's a very important aspect. Unpredictability. In an interaction, we don't know what is being said to us. So we are processing unpredictable data in real time. So in our test, we need to present learners some unpredictable language that they have to sort out and choose the best reply, no? Another one is context. We know that. In every class, if it's a family, if it's a fashion, if it's a clothing, whatever, we identify a context and we present new language in a context. Why should we omit the context in the assessment? Presenting just a bunch of isolated statements for them to fill in the blanks. They're not going to work in a decontextualized fashion outside the classroom, so we need to include that. Purpose. Everything we say has a purpose, has an intention. So we recognize what the other person's intentions are, and we also make our intentions clear. If I want to invite someone, I expect that person to first listen and understand my invitation and respond, accepting or even declining, no? So a communicative test is one in which learners use a language with a purpose. For example, in the email, the purpose is writing to your friend and letting him know about something, okay? Am I going very fast? No? Because I just want to get into the tasks as soon as possible. Because it's a workshop, no? And I want to lecture you a lot. Performance means using the language. In your classes, what do you do to make your students use the language? Think of an activity in class.
Comparing answers in theirs, okay, we do this activity now, compare your answers.
Compare your
before
answers.
I check with you, board. And they start,
Sharing opinions, discussing, defending opinions, getting into an agreement. So they are using the language. So we need to measure that ability, not only if they know the simple past and then the verbs in regular form and with ED. This is extremely important, but we need to go beyond that because this is what they're going to do outside the classroom. So in this kind of test, students need to use the language in a natural way and the same way they would do outside, no? And authenticity. Much has been said about authentic tasks, authentic materials. Well, those tasks need to resemble the language we use and the problems we have outside the classroom. Why presenting my learners an artificial language like the one in traditional tests or traditional textbooks? I need to go beyond that because I'm preparing my learners for facing challenges outside the classroom. So, consequently, a communicative language test must contain authentic tasks, like that of the email or another one where they really deal with something authentic. And the last one, behavior-based. This is a little bit, well, not complicated, but it's not very common to hear about that. Participants, us, in an interaction can consider an interaction as successful or as a bad one, depending on what we obtain from that. For example, if you are the student and you have a doubt and you raise your hand and ask the teacher, what are you expecting?
The teacher to clarify your.
Clarification, understanding. What if the teacher said, no, that's not important? Or no, this is not in the test. Or the teacher explains, but in a very confusing way. So you are not obtaining what you're asking for. You go outside, if you're not from Monterrey, you want to go and eat hamburgers, and you ask somebody in the street, hey, do you know where I can buy a hamburger? That piece of information is the behavior you are expecting from the interaction. We can ask for a favor, information, or just make conversation with the person we want to socialize. So a test must measure what the candidate achieves. Obviously, it's not a real interaction, but as far as possible, we need to provide that opportunity for learners to attempt to get something as a result of their writing or their speaking, no? All right. You have this little chart after the 6 questions. We're going to work together and we're going to analyze some sections from a test, okay? We're going to analyze them on the light of the 7 criteria we set. Look at this. This is a grammar section, okay? The student here has a chart about Susan's job as director's assistant. The student has to write about her abilities and obligation using the structures can, have, has to, do, doesn't have to, no? And you see they indicate what abilities she has and what abilities she doesn't have, and you have to write sentences. Okay, on the light of the 7 characteristics, what do you think? Is this task providing me with these aspects? Take a few minutes to discuss with your neighbor, analyze the task. Is the air conditioning fine? I think so. Let me see if I say something. Okay, please get together in pairs and discuss if the task has the 7.
I don't think it's interactive. Have to answer like yes or no.
And if there is no interaction, other ones are going to consider.
So what, we write no? Interactive based matters? No. Just like we give information on what you can and cannot. I don't think it's very unpredictable because as you as a teacher already have the answers. So you're not expecting different answers from your students. No, because you have your own test. Like, okay, this one is yes, this one is no. So it's, I don't think it's unpredictable. Context, well maybe yes, it's important because you're learning because maybe in some point those are abilities you are going to have to obtain, but I think yes, for the purpose. Does it have a purpose? No, just like to let you know. Yes, it does. No, you don't get performance by answering yes or no. You get performance by talking to someone. Authentic, no. Well, if you're like me, you're going to be like, does she know? Well, I do, she should. So, I will write the pen. Let's go over again. No, but first, yes, but first, this part that is the grammar section. My kids would go like, yes, I know how to work in a computer. You don't. That's because I have younger students. Some of them do, but not all of
El clima está muy, no está siendo suficiente. Ya le bajo.
It's just related to the behavior-based having.
You are not sure? Okay, let's find out together, all right? We are too, right? I think the last one is the one
because it depends on the person.
Look. Now, why? Is there interaction?
No.
Students are not communicating. They are just writing sentences, but they're not communicating or telling somebody about Susan's abilities, no? Unpredictability. They produce the same sentences based on the given clue. No more than that.
You're only adding she can. The has to, she doesn't.
And when you tell students, we're going to use simple present, communicative task is over. This is, remember the difference between present practice and production. In practice, of course, the objective is accuracy, so we even remind the students about using particular language. But in production, which is free activities, communication, and the goal is fluency, we should not remind students and give them any clues. We just present the student with the situation and the communicative purpose or need, and we let them use the language freely. See? Context. Of course, this is related, all of the items, to abilities and obligations at work. That's your context. The activity fails to be authentic because students will not find themselves using given phrases to talk about somebody else's job in the real world. If you're the human resources manager and you are telling a candidate why he's a good candidate or he is being accepted for the position, you don't have your grammar close and you are not so aware of your language, no? So you just stop, no? And the purpose, students describe just for a test, but they do not want to talk about this topic or need information about it. Okay? Performance, they are not required to use the language. They just reproduce or show you whether they know or what they know about the language. And behavior-based, they are not obtaining anything as a result from this test. And I don't mean the points, no? Getting 100 in the exam is not a behavior-based example here, no? Because we're considering the activity in which the candidate is been working, no? So it is no.
So it's more like feedback or something, behavior-based?
And no, behavior-based is like in an interaction, what you are supposed to or to obtain. Could be feedback, could be information, could be a favor, help, many things, no? Okay, there is a way to improve this activity a little bit. We gain more plus signs, but do you think there is total interaction here?
No.
Because responding to an interview this way would occur in an oral way, not in a written way. So, no. Maybe we can even change it and make students to participate in a role play. That would be interaction. Predictability, well, we are not given the clues, just a question. So student has to decide what language he or she has to use. Context is still there, there is a purpose, that is describing your job, telling more about their job and reasons for him or her to be considered a good professional in their area, no? Behavior-based, I don't think we are totally obtaining something out of this because this is a task here written, not an oral one. Okay? Let's try another one. This time, this is a writing task. Write an email to apply for the job. Explain in your email why you're a good candidate and describe your characteristics and qualifications for the job. This ad was taken from Whataburger's webpage. I don't know if it's still there, but when I get it from there, it was there online. So it's a real ad, and students have to perform here as well. So what do you think? Please go back to the discussion. See if we can find more characteristics here and why. This time I would like to have each team explaining one.